Hey, what's up guys and gals, it's Rauta and yet another Indie 5 episode with 5 different bands, 5 different styles. I keep saying that pretty much every time because usually it is that there is no only one genre represented here. Once again, let's go through alphabetical order. So I'll do a little bit of reordering and put them in the proper order to guide you through. First we go to Peru with a band called Ghastly. Now there is another Gastly, maybe more than that, coming from Finland, and that is actually the older one. This Ghastly started around 2020 and the style here is grindcore. It seems like a couple of old friends getting together with a new band. This one is already taking some damage. This one features quite amount of songs, 15 in about 16 minutes, if I recall correctly, the whole length of the release here. As said, given that the style is grindcore, it kind of fits that, the songs are very short and sweet. Two guys, old friends who had previous encounters with a non-named previous band playing some kind of a deathcore or whatever. That is actually what I was told anyway. But this one is pounding the songs in a fast way, very violent stuff and getting right to the point with the kind of a music. Now, if you ever heard a grindcore band, you know pretty much what to expect. Kind of a death metallic, but kind of a more leaning to hardcore. Now, there's nothing fundamentally different or new here to the genre. I mean, everything is basically following the rules. Nothing is outright bad, nothing is outright really good. It's one of those or more like 10 out of a dozen kind of a bands. I mean, you've heard it many times, you know what to expect. It's violent, it's fast tempo, it's kind of a hardcore-ish, punkish, and the rest of it's just kind of a death metal. Simplified side project for those who just love grindcore, nothing beyond that. Then we go to Venus, that is the planet, where is coming this band called Idolos. I previously featured their earlier EP, and this is the second EP by the very band. Actually, this band comes from France, so there are no real spaceships delivering you some real Venusian metal. Or maybe these French guys, after all, are actually from Venus. You really can't prove me wrong with that. The music here is something that could be described as atmospheric black metal, or maybe, to be more precise, some kind of a post-black metal. It's more about creating the atmosphere versus creating violent or memorable melodic riffs, and everything is pretty easy to enjoy. This is something that we could say is less of an extreme metal, more about soothing, more like post-black metal or post-metal with black metal elements, resulting as a post-black thing. Overall, this is not so much a step forward with the band's previous work, but more like continuing with the same pattern. If you heard the previous one and you liked it, you're probably going to like this as well. This one features a Varatron cover here to end the whole deal here. It's about 30 minutes overall, so it's worth your money if you like the music to begin with. Nothing out of ordinary, but kind of easy and soothing to listen to. Then we have this band from Finland, Kalmo, which is a medical term for a dead body. This is their debut album, Gehinnom. I shouldn't really say they, because this is those kind of a solo project, because one-man band and one man takes care of it all. And unfortunately for this case, you all know the so-called bedroom black metal bands where only one guy or gal or whoever takes care of everything. And this is similar, but the style is more like doom death. Basically, this is actually kind of a just doom metal, but the vocals are more taken from the black metal side with kind of a raspiness. Actually, even further, to be honest, they're more like badly spoken words, because the singing is really horrible here. Now, the music is pretty much the basic. I mean, none of the riffs are exactly annoying or great, but they just like go on and you can pretty much live with that. The overall production is something like, okay, pretty typical home studio setup. Nothing sounds really bad, but I mean, it's not super strong or anything, but it does its job and that what matters. However, the vocals, I mean, the more and more spins I gave this one, the more annoyed I got. I mean, they got to the level of awkwardness. Sorry, nowadays people say cringe. They're really cringe-worthy vocals because it seems like the whole rhythmic things just go off. I mean, sometimes when the riff is about to end and change to different ones, the vocals are almost like a little bit delayed. Like, hey, I'm still gonna keep, mentioning these words. But more like, okay, there was a man in this building, and then he was drowning. And you're like, shit, stop it all together. Just make it fucking instrumental, man. The vocals are really, really that bad. Now, if you want to prove me wrong, go and listen to the band, obviously, and decide for yourself. Maybe some people will actually like it a lot, but I can't really recommend it. If there was a decent vocalist, let's be honest about it, this would be a decent, some kind of a mediocre or lukewarm release, but with this vocals, it's just cringe-worthy. Then we have a duo from Germany called Kankar with the Dunkle Millennia. This is the first album that came out in 2021. Same goes, by the way, I think all of these releases here in my pile, hence they are identified being late to the party. And this is the debut album for the band that started around 2016 or so. Comes with a really, really nice looking digipack, in my opinion. I don't know, something really strikes my visual understanding with this one. Now, those of you who don't know what Kankar is, it's a Hindi language, if I'm not mistaken, meaning some kind of unrefined or impure limestone. So very, very much like a sedimentary charm for something like that. Anyway, the music here is an interesting combination of mid-tempo black metal with a little bit of black and roll kind of ideas. But the production is really solid. I mean, it's almost like perfect for this kind of music. But unfortunately, the songs are pretty much like mix and match of better ideas and sometimes quite mediocre ones. I mean, like, it's not bad by no means, but some of those riffs are like, okay, did you really find that idea that fascinating? I would have just, cut it off. This by no means reminds me of early, that is 80s or 90s black metal style. It's quite different. I mean, this is not the kind of a raw or primitive or violent style, the kind of bands I'm talking about, nor this is the exactly symphonic or keyboard driven black metal. So one could say this is the kind of a new wave of black metal. Maybe third wave of a black metal could be suitable, because while at the same time this has those Inquisition-like of weird killer slides, I think they could be called, it also features a little bit like Vraid's black and roll kind of a thing. So it's definitely kind of a pushing the envelope to different directions. Most parts this is actually quite enjoyable to listen to, but some of those weird ideas put me a little bit off. Decent release nonetheless and worth giving a shot. Then we have the last band from Germany. This is, Switzerland, Ungfell, with the Grout, calling the album. This one is a weird case. I remember listening to the debut album by the band, and my CD is, by the way, still in CD player. Forgot to take it out of there for the review purposes, but you have to just live with me being lazy and not getting it at this point. So, first album by the band, which came out like 2 years before this one. This one is 2021 release, whereas the first one is 2019, if I remember correctly. And that already combined very melodic black metal to kind of a folkier parts, creating kind of like traditional music to black metal, which results kind of a weird combination. At the same time, this features the kind of folk black melodic metal things coming from mid-European, especially the French kind of stuff, and also having those black metal melodies which are not that folky at all. The result is for acquired taste only. And this is then complemented with the kind of organic sound and feel, also with different kind of vocals, and I really can't put my head around it. My point here is, some people are gonna like it, probably quite a lot, because this is like a Swiss version of Windir, being very melodic, even to a point where it's almost like happy kind of a stuff, and some people are just gonna not like it because it's too melodic and too kind of happy, too folky and all that stuff. Now, I don't know if it actually does justice to this album to say it's kind of a melodic folk black metal. It's more like melodic black metal with folky parts or folky influence, if you get my drift. For people who like that kind of stuff, give it a shot. For the rest of us, don't bother. Now, if I had to pick only one of these, like I always want to do in Indie 5, I think there's a clear winner, and this one goes to Kankar with the debut album. This is the strongest of them all. Not exactly great, but definitely worth a listen. For the others, I guess Kalmo one is something that you want to avoid. The rest, up to you guys. Check out the links provided for music and see more info in the description box. See you with more reviews coming your way.